Hello and welcome back to another episode of TNT with your girl G. I hope you are doing well and that you have had a blessed week so far. If you are new here, this is a faith-based podcast where we just talk about life. We talk about things we've been through, things we're currently going through, all through the lens of Jesus. So yeah, I'm excited for this week's episode. Also, it's November. How? How is it November? How have we got... Yeah, anyway. An exciting news. Technically this week, I will have officially been doing TNT for a year. And yes, I know I had a little bit of a break, but to know that I've had this podcast, that this seed that was planted many years ago and then has sprouted into this is just so exciting, and all glory be to God. And it kind of leads me nicely on to today's topic, which, the episode I wanted to talk about and what I want to discuss is that the wait is worth it. The wait is worth it. A lot of the time people are like, oh, it's worth the wait. It's worth the wait. But honestly, and it's talking about the wait. What is the wait? It's the waiting process. It's sometimes things we have to walk through. That wait. But it's worth it. It is worth it. And I've got so many testimonies, so many things in my life that I'm like, wow, that waiting process. Or sometimes it's not even that you realize you're waiting for something, but then you look back and you're like, what? Huh? What? It's crazy. And so, I just wanted to share a few things, which, I don't know, it kind of rounds nicely into the next season. So obviously the next episode will be a year. And so it's kind of like, okay, it's a year. We're going to a new season. What is that? What is this year looking like? And kind of thinking and starting from there. But I kind of wanted to do a reflection episode. And I mean, a lot of my episodes are reflections because it's all testimonies and looking back on what God has done and looking forward to what God is going to do. And standing in faith. And I don't know, I was just reflecting. And even this week when I was looking and I was praying, and it's just God and his presence and being in that place of waiting. But it's also when we're in that place and saying that the wait is worth it, it's what is our posture? What is our heart posture like? Are we focused on that waiting? Are we focused on that waiting process, or are we looking to God? And as you know, I've been reading Acts, and there's in Acts 16 is where Paul and Silas are in prison, and it's very famous. If you haven't read it, I just recommend, because it is just so encouraging. It's so uplifting and so inspiring. And Paul and Silas, basically, they've been sent to prison. They're in prison. They've been beaten. They're bound in chains. And I think it's stocks. Depends on your translation. And they're in prison. And the jailer's there watching. And they start worshipping. They start singing. Imagine you're in prison. You've been beaten. Brutally beaten. And they're waiting. They're waiting in prison. They're waiting. What is coming next? Are we going to be sentenced? We're waiting. But in that prison cell, they are singing hymns. They are rejoicing. They don't know what's coming. What does tomorrow hold? I don't know. But in this moment, we're going to rejoice. And to the point that an earthquake happens, as in there's an earthquake in prison, and the chains break off and they're free. God fully just says, you're free. You can come out of prison. And not only that, then the jailer is converted and is like, oh my gosh, what is this God that you serve? That You've been in prison, you've been beaten, you're in chains, and you're worshipping in this place, and that then he can, with his mighty power, release you. Like, what? And I was just like, wow, God, wow. That is incredible. That is incredible that in this time of waiting, like what is our heart posture like in this time of waiting? How are we responding? And that personally for me, I'm in this process of change. And I guess when you are going through change, you naturally do reflect on things that you've been through. And I am in the process of moving my life, and what's that going to look like? And I'm looking for work in a new place, in a new city, and thinking, okay, God, like, I need you in this. It's a waiting process, like looking for jobs, applying for jobs and all of this. And then it's looking back on like, wow, God, like, but what have you done? Like, what have you done? And I've been in this waiting season before. And it's even when I think about this podcast and writing episodes and preparing, and it's a case of waiting on God. It's a case of being, God, hey, what do you want me to speak about? What do you want me to share? Okay, you want me to share that? Okay, I need to pray about that. And even just the growth and like trusting in God and waiting on God and job opportunity. It's all waiting on God, but it's what is our heart posture like? You know, are we rejoicing? Do we have faith? It's like having faith that, okay, even if I don't get this job, even if this job that I really want, like with my whole heart, I don't get it, I trust that you have the best for me. I trust that you have something greater, an opportunity that is perfect for me in this season of life that I'm in. Because as well, you've got to remember, like, God sees the whole picture. So he sees what is coming in a month down the line, in 2 months down the line. So therefore, he's going to give you what you need for now. What is the perfect thing for you for now? You might be looking at something being like, oh God, this is going to be amazing. Like this will bring in this much money and this, but you don't know what's around the corner. You know, that work, that job that you think, oh God, this would be an amazing opportunity. Like I'd be able to progress in this and like this money, but God might be like, actually, I know that there's a season coming where you're going to need more time, where you're going to need to support your family, where you're going to need to be more present. And this job is not going to allow you to do that. So therefore, you need to trust me that in this process, in this like season that you're waiting and you're waiting on me, you need to trust that I'm going to bring the right thing for you. I'm going to bring the right thing for you at that time. And it's going to make sense. And I don't know, I've just been really reflecting on that. And yeah, like full transparency with like wedding planning, it has been interesting. It's been so joyful, but it's been a real interesting thing of, God, actually, we trust you. We trust you in these decisions that we are making, and we go before, like we lay it down before you. Like we lay this wedding down before you. And even to the point, right, that James and I, we knew we were going to get married. We knew that even like just the start of our relationship, we knew where it was going. And so we were like, if we know where it's going, why don't we start looking? And me being me, I like to be organized. I like to be ahead of the game. I like to have things ticked off. And so I was like, yeah. And I found this place and I was like, James, like I found this place. It looks really good. We went for a viewing. Like imagine we're not even engaged yet. We went for a viewing. We're like, yes, I like this place. I feel like this place is the one. Yep, cool. Continue, like, yep, cool, you can do this number, brilliant, all this. And we're literally about to, we've actually signed the contract, so we're about to post it and obviously do the deposit and everything. We're about to post it. And I was like, James, I don't feel peaceful. there's something about this that I don't feel peaceful. And James was like, I agree. I'm in alignment with you. I agree. And I'm like, oh, but God, like, this means that I won't have this done and I won't have this done. And I've got to start that whole process again and completely wait and trust on you. And I want to do that. But I'm also like, oh, really, God? Like, I thought that this was all this, we'd done all this and da 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 da. And anyway, came to the decision, like, nope, this is not the one. Cool. And anyway, then we got engaged and then we started the process again. And we've been to viewing after viewing after viewing. And it's this waiting process. But in this process, it's been, we know that God is going to provide. We know it is going to be worth it. We know that he has the best. So let's not stress. And not going to lie, like there have been times when it has, of course, it's been stressful. Like, yeah. But it's not fixating on that. It's not staying in that place. It's a case of, God, we trust you. This wedding is about you. This has to be a God-centered wedding. So therefore, if we trust you, if we lay it before you, you will open the right doors for us. You will make a way. And this is going to be the day that it is supposed to be. And we trust that. And like, then when things start happening that you're like, oh my gosh, this is it. You're like, it makes it so much sweeter that you've waited and God's like, here you go. This is what I had. And you're like, oh my goodness gracious me. Wow. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you that waiting and trusting in you is so worth it because you have the best. You have the best. And I even think about it with my relationship. And that's a testimony itself. Like with James, I kind of came into the year and I don't know, I'm a very guarded in the sense of I don't like to give my heart to just anyone. But when I do give my heart, I'll give my heart. I'll give my heart. And I've been through things in the past and I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm really enjoying this single season of life. I mean, I made a podcast, Being Content in Your Singleness. And when I tell you, I was so content. I was enjoying every minute, every second. But I was also like, God, like, whoever you provide, like, that's cool. But I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you and I'm trusting in you. And not going to say that there wasn't like people that I was like, oh, like this guy seems lovely. But there was just something about it. And that's the thing. It's also trusting in God, trust in your God-given conscience, trust in that wisdom and discernment that you have because he's given it to you. It's a gift. It's a gift. Don't exploit it. Use it. Use it. And it got to the point that I was like, enjoying my single season so much that it didn't even feel like I was waiting. Like I knew I wanted to get married. I knew I was going to get married and that my future husband was going to come at some point. But I didn't even realize I was waiting for him because I was so fixated on God and pursuing God and in this season of, I don't know, just doing life with him. And not that I'm not doing life with him, I am, but it's just a different dynamic now. Because it's like, okay, Bible studies with my partner and stuff. But anyway, I digress. And I was just so content that I didn't realize I was waiting to the point that I was like, God, I'm enjoying this season so much. Like, and I'm so busy with life. Like, don't worry. Like, I know it's going to come in your time. So, like, I'm quite busy at the minute. I've got my sister's wedding. Like, now's not really the time, is it? Da, da, da. And then God was like, yeah, now's your time. And I was like, oh my goodness. And there have been people before that I've been like, oh God, have you brought these into my life for a reason? And then God's like, no. And then when he brought James into my life, I was like, oh wow, okay, this is what it means to wait. This is what it means to wait for God's best. Because James is the best. James, if you're listening, I know you're listening, I know you're watching, you always watch every episode, you're the best. Like, he compliments me in so many ways, like the way that he brings different things out of me and vice versa, and it's what it means to be equally yoked and waiting for God's best. I honestly I can't recommend it enough. I can't recommend waiting for God's best. And I'm not gonna lie, there's probably been periods of my life where I'm like, oh, like but God, like why do I deserve your best? Like, I don't deserve your best. Like, look at my life, look at the places that I've been to, look at my past. Like, why should I deserve your best? Like, I don't think I do. And that's the thing, it's like God's like, okay, you feel like you just don't deserve it, and quite frankly, you don't, but I want to give it to you anyway, because I love you so much, and I've created this other person and I love them so much that I know that you are each other's best, and you are going to be the kingdom marriage, and I have designed you in such a way that you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And it's like, what? Like, what? And like, that's what I mean when it's like, when you are just fully committed to God, you don't even realize you're waiting. You're just like, yep, cool, God. And then it's like, oh, here's a gift that I have for you. You know, when you're praying about your husband, you know, when you're praying for all these things, here you go. And it's like, what? And it's like, it's funny because I know Transformation Church, they have there's like the relationship goals series, and there's the episode where it's like rip up your list. And I totally get that. I totally get like ripping up your list, and, you know, you pursuing, you know, what God has for you, and it being like a godly man and all of that, and totally. But there are things inside of you, as much as you can say, yeah, I've ripped up my list, there are things inside of you that you desire about your future partner. There's things that you desire. Like, so for me, for instance, I desire that the person that I'm with, the person that I marry, is a Christian. I desire that they love family because I'm from a massive family. There's certain things that I'm like, oh, it would be really cool if they were musical, because my family's so musical. And not that that's a must, but it's just like, that would be cool. That would be nice. Oh, it would be nice if they were into this. And when I tell you, God has just gone tick, 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 like, honestly, tick, 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 tick. Things I didn't even realize I wanted. I'm like, okay, God, yeah, okay. Now you're just showing off. Okay, I see that you know me better. Sorry, yeah, I know. When I took it into my own hands, I don't know why I did that, because, yep, I can see it. Yep, lesson learned. And it's like, what? Like, how do I deserve it? And it's like, you don't deserve it, but I love you so much that I want to give you the best. And guess what? Yes, it was worth the wait. The wait was so worth it. So unbelievably worth it. And it's like, there's things that we'll go through in periods in life that will be hard. Waiting for a job is hard, because you're like, God, I could really do with the finance now. God, I could really do with a promotion right now. Or, God, we're looking for a house. Like, oh, this is taking a long time. But actually, what is God going to do in that? And then also, when you look back and you get that thing that you've been praying for, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much sweeter, because I've been praying for months. I've been on my knees for months. And you've answered my prayer, God. Like, at times when I thought you weren't even listening, you were listening. Or times that I thought, like, should I still be praying this prayer? Should I move on? No, like, continue to be faithful. God hears everything. God is hearing your cries. And even though sometimes the wait is hard, the wait can be painful, it will be worth it. So worth it. So worth it. Like Paul, and look what happened out of that. Out of our heart response, out of our heart posture, what will come out of the waiting? If we are committed on God, if we are focused on Him, if we are rejoicing even in this time of waiting, what is going to come out of that? What testimonies are you going to be able to share? What encouragement are you going to be able to bring? Look at Paul and Silas. The jailer and his whole family were saved because while they were waiting, they were worshipping. What is going to happen in this time of waiting? What are people going to see and be able to witness that they're like, wow, they were going through this process of waiting. They were going through this whole time of uncertainty and waiting and trusting and not knowing, just waiting. And look what happened. Where's our heart posture? It's so exciting. And even like this, like with TNT and trusting and waiting, like, God, I know I want to do a podcast. I know I want it to be about you, but I've got to wait till I'm ready. I've got to wait till I know in my heart of hearts that I'm ready, that I'm going to continue, that I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And yes, there are moments that you have like breaks, of course, like we're human. Life is not, we don't know what tomorrow holds, and there are moments that we need to reset and refocus. But it's so worth it. When we wait on God, it is so worth it. It's better than we could ever think or imagine. So my encouragement to you is wait on God. Whatever it is you're asking for, whatever it is you're praying for, whatever it is you're seeking Him in these next couple of months, or, you know, praying ahead for the new year, for 2025, and what that year is going to look like, and what things you're wanting in this new year and seeking God for. In this waiting process, trust in Him. He is faithful. He is faithful. That would be my encouragement to you. The wait is worth it. Wait on Him. Wait on Him, trust in Him, and have a heart posture that is of praise and worship. And continue to love the people around you. Encourage them in their time of waiting. Pray for them. Lift them up. That's what I would say. But anyway, I'm so excited for just the remainder of the year and what God is doing in this next year. Like I say, 2025 is going to be a big year. It's going to be an exciting one. But let's not wish life away. Let's not, focus. Let's focus on now. What are we doing now? What are we pressing into now? That would be my encouragement. But yeah, I pray you have an amazing week. I pray that God just meets with you this week, that your faith is just lifted, that you feel encouraged, that you feel blessed. And I'll be back next week, with a different setup. Anyway, I'll be back next week for another episode of TNT with your girl G.